Monday is already starting off extremely tense. Due to the reaction over the past few days from all over Brazil, everyone became aware of what's happening in the federal police. The former governor of Rio de Janeiro, Antony Garotinho, made a truly explosive statement. Something big is coming. Especially when you see a minister who doesn't inform to the chief director of the federal police that an operation was going to be carried out, led by federal police agents. Lula's team, he had to act to see if he could control it. It went bad for Dadel. This story of him trying to remove police chiefs, taking police chiefs out of the offices, of the ministers, went really bad. Alexandre de Moraes, who's had his police chief there for so long, how long? Over a year, years, more than years. And André's, he's looking into this situation. And everything is hush-hush. Remember I told you it's a closed-off place? Only what needs to be leaked gets leaked. The rest is all held back there. And after the information that was released, you can see, there was time for several people involved to react. When the investigations were not yet at the stage, for example, that they are at today, both from INSS and from Banco Master. Don't think, and I'll say it again, don't think that the INSS investigation is over. It's not over. When they least expect it, something's going to happen, right? Just like
it happened last week.
Last week. Jacques Wagner was just the appetizer. An appetizer for what's about to happen. Check this out. I was following along here, right? Colonel Gerson Gomez. André is not messing around, my friends. There's still a lot more to happen for Dadel.
The investigation, as far as I'm concerned, as the rapporteur, will continue its course. Plea bargaining is interesting. I told lawyers I'm not concerned about it. I don't arrest people for plea deals. So, kid, have you played yet, minister? As the justice overseeing the case, I will ensure the investigation runs its course. The whole issue of a cooperation deal is interesting. I've always told the lawyers I'm not worried about a cooperation deal, no. First of all, I don't arrest people to get them to cooperate. I wouldn't allow myself to do that. I wouldn't sleep well if I did that. Secondly, a cooperation deal is up to the defense. Some lawyers ask me, but won't you catch everyone? I'm focused on going after whoever the investigation points to. I'm not worried.
Do you understand? André knows very well how the system works. He had to change, to alter his entire work structure, my friends. Everything had to be changed. Everything had to be, how can I say the word for you, modified. Because Gilmar Mendes is like this, look, pass the ball to me, pass the ball to me, pass the ball to me. So that if André makes any mistake, he can move to try to shut down both Marcio's operation and the INSS operation. Do you remember what I said here? That when André brought it to the floor for them to decide whether to end the parliamentary inquiry into the INSS, it was on purpose. André knew, the whole country knew, that the moment he put it to a vote on the floor, and he didn't have to do that, the majority would vote to end the INSS CPMI, which is also connected to Banco Master. He knew that, he knew. He did that on purpose so he could get to the big fish, to expose everyone who's trying to cover all this up. And he succeeded. Then there were the votes from the other ministers, saying it couldn't, continue with the CPMI, that it was undemocratic, the COVID one, man. When it was about Bolsonaro, anything was allowed. And there's another detail, too. André, just like Trump, they're walking on eggshells. Because Bolsonaro, speaking of Bolsonaro, is a political hostage. Depending on what André does, that's a fact. Depending on what André does, Jandon will make things worse for Bolsonaro. On Thursday, the 90-day deadline for the detention there expires, which is humanitarian, when he sent President Bolsonaro home. What do you think he wanted with that thing about Bolsonaro's gun that Jandon took? How do you think that leaked? How does the police know? Man, I'm in my 40s. I've never been stopped by the police. Now look. Bolsonaro hands over an old gun. An old gun. The gun wasn't working. The gun wasn't working. He took it there for the guy to fix it, right? His assistant there, you know? And then, when the assistant is leaving Bolsonaro's house, heading to the place, the police stop him and take the gun. Look at the gun. This was already obvious, my friends. Remember that there are federal police officers at the door and inside Bolsonaro's house 24 hours a day. 24 hours. The other day they were even complaining about Bolsonaro's little dog there. It's pooping too much. The dog is pooping too much. The dog called. He gave me a dirty look because he wanted to bite me. They are not federal police officers trusted by Bolsonaro. Obviously not. They are police officers appointed by Alexandre de Moraes. So suddenly, if André puts the pressure on here, President Bolsonaro ends up in a complicated situation. He's a hostage. He's a hostage, right in front of everyone. You won't see this on Otário Guedes, on André, on Sadi, on Globo, on Folha, on Estado. None of them. They're all democratic. What Alexandre de Moraes does is democratic. Let André do the same thing to Lula so you can see what happens. What happens, okay? So, he's walking on eggshells. Here, guys, this is serious. Vorcaro tried to contact the federal chief in Gone. This is extremely serious. Vorcaro tried to contact federal police and Attorney General's office chiefs to prevent any tricks before his arrest. The investigation document revealed the backstage scandal involving Daniel Vorcaro. This is extremely serious. How does the guy call reaching out to that person? Exactly Gone and the chief director of the federal police, who drank whiskey there, worth more than 3 million reais. Man, what kind of whiskey is that, right? In this case, I can't even stand it. But it must be some really good whiskey, must be sweet whiskey. It must be Macallan whiskey. I don't know what it's like, but it must be sweet, the kind that goes down smooth and leaves the person. Wow, man, I'll be honest, right? There are people who don't even like whiskey, but they go ahead and drink it anyway. I'm fancy, I drink whiskey. I drink whiskey. The guys went for it shamelessly, man. Any country with a shred of seriousness, any country with a shred of seriousness, I don't even need to tell you what would happen. But this is Brazil. Fabinho from Vida Gringa, he said absolutely everything we've been talking about. It leaked. So, a lot about INSS, a lot about Master. André decided to put an end to that. Who do you think warned Lula so he could react and, look, run away to Spain? He ran away. It was an escape. He knew things would get complicated from the start of the CPMI and INSS. Why would he want to go to Spain when his father is the representative of that country? He realized things would get tight. André was a minister. And I'll say more, that operation that happened with Nora. With Lula, his son was waiting at the door. Because they're not married. They're not married, that's it. The woman was there with, theoretically, her ex-husband, 6 o'clock in the morning. What do you guys think? You were warned, my friend. You were warned. That's clear. See what Fabinho says.
Do you understand what the problem is, guys? The problem is this. The leader of the PT, Lula's buddy, really close to Lula, the messenger from Vorcaro to Lula, the errand man. They didn't mention André Rodrigues. Didn't the police tell André Rodrigues that Lula's messenger was being investigated? André Rodrigues got angry since he leads the police, which report to Lula. How could the police not tell Lula so that he could have hidden that money, that he could have hidden the watches? How did the police not warn Lula? So that's why he's upset. The police should have warned him. For example, back then, when they went to visit the wife, the ex-wife of Lula's son was at the house, he found out. When they held a joint parliamentary inquiry into the INSS and they found out that Lula's son was making $300,000 a month, Lula's son ran off to Spain, they found out. This time nothing leaked, this time they didn't find out. So what makes them angry is that nothing was told to them. That's the thing.
That's the thing, because it would have given them time to act. The federal police seized 13 watches. Do you think he would have hidden the watches? They took that stash, $55,000, 33,000 euros. Do you think he wouldn't have hidden that money? Obviously, my friends, obviously. Then there's that detail. Bolsonaro couldn't appoint the director of the federal police. Lula could. Then Zando didn't say anything. Very democratic. Democracy. Look at what the little guy says here. The little guy, look. He's very influential behind the scenes in politics. The director of the federal police is practically committing obstruction of justice.
Pay attention, okay? People close to Minister André Mendonça of the Supreme Federal Court say that a determinação, the Director General of the Federal Police, to withdraw the officers who were working on the day of the operation at the house of the government's leader in the Senate, Jacques Wagner. It could be considered obstruction of justice. He is said to have confided to friends that he might order the arrest of the Director General of the Federal Police. Let's wait for all the details on this story.
Wow, man. Look.
The arrest is confided to friends, which may determine.
Look.
He would have confided to friends that he can order the arrest of the Director General of the Federal Police. Let's wait for all the details on this story.
Man, this country is on fire, huh? We can't talk much about this. You understand the reason, right? I would really like to. Because, look, even Estadão reported it. Look, Lula coordinated with the director of the federal police to recall delegates who assist judges. Lula coordinated with the director of the federal police. Bringing those delegates back turned out really badly. Look at that. The measure is seen by some in the federal police as political interference by Lula. The expectation is that the order will reach Mendonça's office and affect cases like INSS and Master. That was it, folks. The entire press should be hitting on this 24 hours a day. But their business is Flavio, right? Flavio is their obsession. That was one of the biggest crimes that Lula committed there, in the place where he is. As soon as his partner gets caught, he goes there and makes that decision. It's a crime that requires immediate removal. Right away, you shouldn't even have to think about it. You shouldn't even have to think about it. No, wait, hold on.
This is absurd.
See what Penelopeña says.
Look at how much trouble Lula is in right now, just a little over a month before the start of the election campaign. He is trying to stop the investigations that are getting close to him and his family, interfering with the federal police investigator, trying to remove the delegate from the Supreme Court. But I have the impression that now he's realizing that the Supreme Court is no longer that warm, cozy, welcoming, and predictable place he was used to. Recently, as you know, the government tried to remove the federal delegates, including the one who works with Minister André Mendonça. But I think they chose the timing very poorly, right? Because doing that right after the operation against Jacques Wagner kind of put a spotlight on it.
It was caught red-handed.
About the real objective. And maybe it even made the reaction easier.
Grande Penelope. I really like the content. Ever since she was at MTV, I was a big fan of hers. Big fan? And she's on our side. Now from Ori Verde. Look, Ori Verde is awesome. Pretoria is really good. And that's what she says here. She chose a really bad time. Really bad. And there will be consequences. There will be developments. There will be problems. That's a fact. This week promises more embarrassing situations. There are still a lot of people left to fall. Okay? Here, even Dr. André Marcília. Lula tried to hit Mendonça. He hit Moraes instead. He reveals it here. This one is one of the greatest jurists in Brazil.
He would end up unintentionally hitting Moraes, and he had to backtrack on the measure. I'll tell you this whole story and show you how the spell backfired on the sorcerer. My friends, Minister Mendonça's office, Lula's idea was to take the momentum out of the investigations, to slow down the investigations, to delay the investigations so they can't reach Lula, his family, or his government during the election period. Lula knows that at some point all of this will reach him. But he wouldn't like or doesn't want this to happen during the elections and interfere with his attempt at re-election. That's it. He wanted to delay the investigations. But he forgot that by going after the commissioners assigned to the Supreme Court to remove the one assigned to Mendonça, he would end up removing the ones assigned to the other justices as well. Fuchs has a delegate, but above all, Moraes has a federal police delegate inside his office.
See? Totally clumsy, desperate. And he ended up exposing the entire core of the federal police itself. Core. From the top, from the top, from the top.
Yes. Yes, core.
This week is going to be great, huh? It sure is. Hit the like button, come join our family, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave your comments. And I'm already back with more news and information here on the Pies of Philos channel, Fabiano Gigay. Share a lot, use the P, my friends, and come join our team.